Last weekend, I headed west to Alabama with the Hoxton clan for the next to last Southeastern Loretta Lynn's area qualifier. Now, I gotta say, Monster Mountain in Tallassee, Alabama, gotta be one of the sickest tracks in the entire country. Go ahead and call it Alabama's Glen Helen. It's setting a crater down in the valley, making great use of the elevation. We're hopping on track here Friday, doing a little bit of practice. This is the vet practice, so I think 30 years old and up. Chad Reed was out there. I know your boy had to get a selfie. Fortunately for me, though, Chad Reed would only end up racing the 25-plus division. I've been racing 30-plus this year after a little snafu at the Loretta Qualifier at Jimmy Weinert's. I only raced 450C there, not realizing 450C is a bunch of 16, 17-year-old kids that are extremely talented and have no regard for their own physical safety. I found myself much safer in the 30-plus class. Like I said, these are a couple clips ripping around the track in practice. The track was super sick on Friday. Dumped rain off and on most of Saturday. You may have already seen on my channel. Also secured a media pass at this event. Did some filming with the big camera. Go check that out if you hadn't already. If you showed up to race, almost guaranteed you're in that video. There's a lot of emotions going behind this event right here. We get on the start line for 450C. One of the things I want to point out, racing on Sunday, I was in Motos 12 and Moto 15. This was Moto 12 450C. Not a great start for me. Really was just focused on trying to not stall. Regardless, I knew if I went outside, there'd be a bottleneck right here. Was able to sneak my way on into the inside. You see how deep that Alabama red clay is too. The track was super deep, but I got to give a huge shout out to the Monster Mountain crew. They did a great job despite the weather, keeping this track super raceable. As I mentioned, 450C, that was 33 riders on the gate in this moto. It was Moto 12. My 30-plus class was Moto 15, so I only had like 2 races, Motos 13 and 14 in between my races. That's about a 20-minute break, if that. Not a lot of time to get the heart rate down. So more importantly, in 30 plus, I only had 11 riders in my class to qualify for the Loretta's regionals. I knew I only needed top 9. So when I realized I was going to get a little bit smoked in this group, which I kind of already knew from previous experience, kind of sat down towards the end of the second lap, just trying to preserve whatever energy I could for the next race. Nonetheless, this was awesome race. Pretty sick battle right here with the boy in yellow. Almost got hurt on that little wall jump in practice the day prior. Wasn't sending it as hard as I should right there. You're just landing in a mud pit off that first wall jump. That's the finish line right there. Monster Mountain track, super sick. This straightaway reminded me of Jimmy Weinert's training facility in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Just kind of a deep sand whoops section where it looks like there's a ton of ruts, but it's actually so sandy, especially on the 450, those ruts don't matter. Just grab the top of third, pinch the bike with your knees, hope for the best. And here we go, climbing up Monster Mountain. So sick. We don't got hills like this. The beach of North Carolina for sure. Come screaming up that hill, third gear tap, kind of hit the U-turn along the cliffside on the backside right there. Another 30-foot table jumping down. I was sending that real deep in practice, but the mud was super deep before that lip. It was pretty much everything I could, just trying to clear it by race time. And we're coming back here across the Sarge Straight. Sick little tabletop into a triple as you come across the start straight here. Unfortunately, was not jumping the triple this past weekend. Rode down there with some buddies, and I mean, first of all, if I was battling for spot right now, that's one of the things I've definitely considered hitting it, but it's not battling for spot, really just trying to preserve energy at this point, realizing I'm about 26th of 33 people, maybe 24th right now, I don't know. Didn't hit the triple, but one thing I gotta say as a rider, for riders, if you're riding and you want to get better, one of the absolute best things you can do for your craft is to get out there and travel, man. Ride different tracks, ride different types of soils, hitting different ruts. The amount of confidence I left Alabama with after this race, I can already tell you I went straight back to my local track and hit some jumps I never ever hit before. Because when you travel and you ride new jumps with new people, you get on the gate with 33 other guys coming back home to the local. Some of the stuff that seems scary, just not quite that scary anymore. Huge accomplishment for me hitting the county line, motocross finish line jump there. That's more than a 70-foot tabletop for sure. Super tall, pretty steep, biggest jump I ever hit. And hopefully we're just going to keep carrying this confidence and momentum. Honestly, I was disappointed. There was 2 triples on this track in Alabama I did not hit. I knew when I got back to my local, I need to focus on hitting jumps roughly that size. So when I do show up at these new tracks, I'm comfortable jumping that 70 to 80 foot range. Nonetheless, super proud of how I rode out here. Y'all might be thinking, oh, he's getting smoked in 450C. Compare the lap times as we did at Jimmy Weiner's. Some of the top dudes in this division, I mean, they could be racing 450B, 450A, 250 open sport. AMA needs to do a better job about handicapping people from just straight up sandbagging. I don't know what the answer is. 450C, again, not really a beginner-friendly division out here. We're racing with some really fast kids who take this sport extremely seriously. Frankly, I was just happy to not be in last. I knew 450C was going to be one of the biggest classes of the day. Really signed up for it just so I could get as much lap time as possible. You drive this far to go race, you might as well race whatever you can. Just ended up being unfortunate that I was Motos 12 and 15, and that 15, Moto 15 was the moto I cared more about. That said, as we're getting roosted here, I think we're going to go ahead and slide on over to the most important race of the day for me, Moto 15 30 plus amateur. Never even rode my dirt bike through a tunnel before. Like I said, such a cool and awesome adventure heading down to Alabama with the Hoxton clan. Super appreciative of them having me on the trip. From signing up in the wrong class at Jimmy Weinert's to my dirt bike getting stolen right before the NCMP race, it was an absolute adventure even getting here. But we got 11 people on the gate and 30 plus amateur, top 9 qualify. This is Moto 1, the most important race of the day. Cat-like reflexes, I guess. Hit the gate, didn't stall though. Got the adrenaline pumping. Unfortunate way to start, but I was at max juice right here thinking, well, you know you're in last. You just got to pass 2 people. Didn't waste much time making that move. At this point, I pretty much identified the guy in blue and the guy in yellow in front of me. The dudes I might be most capable of battling with. Really just focused on putting the cleanest laps I can together, sticking to a lot of the insides in these corners, trying to get through them as quick as possible. Learned my lesson from 450C going outside there. That corner was not good on the outside again. Trying to make good use of these insides, trying to not let those 2 guys in front of me get out of my eyesight. I'll know as long as I can see them, maybe I can push a little extra hard in a section, close the gap. Even watching the tape back, I'm just so proud of myself. I've come so far. You can watch videos of me racing not even 8-9 months ago at Half Moon, not jumping, clearing any of the jumps. We're out here in Alabama, a long, long way from home, absolutely sending, hitting almost all of this track in 3rd gear. Not saying I'm where I want to be, but I came a long way and we're getting closer and closer every time we throw our legs over the dirt bike to getting where I want to be, which is just my own personal best. Not even sure what my personal best is going to be, but I'm having a lot of fun getting there. Little deep and a little sticky right there. Panic rev like that'll get your heart going, especially before you click fourth, just screaming down the mountain. We got the fresh pack on that part of the track too before this moto. I didn't even know how to make heads or tails of that. Definitely watching it back. Should have been going inside there. My boy Spencer Wilmot told me to hit this inside. He'd been watching the prior races on the live cam. I said, all right, bet I'm going to get the table for the inside. And that just goes to show the local advantage too. I mean, I tried to hit that inside right before the tabletop, just kind of blew the corner. Definitely racing some local dudes in here. In this class, 30 plus, I'm racing dudes who podiumed in 250 open sport, basically the pro class. These are seriously talented riders racing some of the fastest 30 plus year olds in the southeastern United States. Dudes from Missouri, Florida, all sorts of stuff. And I've noticed that Blue's checked out on me a little bit. Really need to push. I just absolutely wanted 9th place so bad. At this point, I'm thinking, yeah, I'll take that. I ended up talking to him after. He said he stalled the bike, electric start on the Yamaha, wouldn't get it back going. I actually considered buying a YZ450 when I bought this RMZ 450 a couple of weeks ago. The YZ is a lot more expensive, and people, you know, love to sniff at the kickstart, but it does work second try, every try. Unfortunate for that guy, but this is why we race. You got to get on the gate. You got to take off. You got to finish the race. I was still pretty nervous though. I had no clue if he got it started immediately behind me or something. I did peek back right there, realized I had a solid gap. So at this point, I'm thinking he might be able to close the gap in. Also, if I just keep pushing at the pace I've been riding at, I'll probably hold my own out here. I did end up coasting on in 9th place this moto. GoPro was super dead after filming 2 motos on Sunday, so I didn't film the last 2 motos of the day. But I went on to get 8th in 30 plus amateur Moto 2. Good enough to secure the trophy and a trip to Lake Sugar Tree this June. Be on the lookout for that video. We're going racing. It's top 6 from Lake Sugar Tree. Will qualify for Loretta's again. Not thinking at all I'm going to get top 6. I only got 8, but this regional probably not top 6 material. Nonetheless, it's going to be an incredible experience to get down there, up there really in Virginia, and give it my all. Probably going to try to take a trip up there in the next weekend or 2, get some sight labs, see what I need to do. We're going to roll in on to the finish line here, and as always, I appreciate y'all tuning in for this one. I look forward to catching y'all on the next one very, very soon. Until then, peace.